The Social Network was released in 2010. It is directed by David Fincher and written by my favourite writer, Aaron Sorkin, who won the Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar for the film. It follows the creation of Facebook by Mark Zuckerberg. I say that because it's actually about two trials that kind of went on to lawsuits against Mark Zuckerberg by people who had a hand in the building of Facebook. Admittedly, Zuckerberg, I mean, it's clear that Zuckerberg is a very intelligent guy. He had what it takes to kind of take the ideas that these other men kind of came up with and helped with to really make Facebook succeed. But the fact of the matter is, yeah, he didn't do it alone. There were people that he kind of used as stepping stones to get Facebook to where it is today. And this film kind of takes a look at that, takes a look at the character of Zuckerberg and what makes him tick, who he is as a person. Ultimately, it is a film about, ironically, a man who creates a social network who actually has no social skills. He's highly intelligent and he wants nothing more desperately than to be in the inner circle, in the in crowd, to be popular, to have friends. He just doesn't know how to do it. And that is exemplified in the opening sequence where he's out on a date with a character played by Rooney Mara, and he just cocks it up because of his mouth, because of the words that just the bile that pours out of his mouth. And he's not trying to be a douchebag. He doesn't know how to socialize. That's the thing, and that's the big ironic kind of undercurrent of the film, is the fact that this is the guy who brought us Facebook, the social networking app. First of all, as I say, Aaron Sorkin, my favourite writer of all time, and a huge fan of The West Wing. I've said this before, I think it's the best written TV show ever, particularly those first 4 years where he pretty much wrote every screenplay. But yeah, he has such a way with dialogue that you have to keep up. You know, he doesn't kind of spoon feed you things. He just goes at 100 miles an hour, and if you don't keep up, you will get lost. And I think that style of writing isn't for everyone. I mean, even me as a fan, knowing what to expect, there are times with his writing where I'm rewarded on a rewatch because I pick up things that I didn't previously pick up. This being a case in point. The first time I watched this film, I did love it. I gave it a 5-star rating. I thought it was really good. Not to give the game away here, but yeah. Second time I watched it, I thought it was even better because I did pick up things that felt more important to me the second time round. I think that opening scene that I just talked about, on the first viewing, it kind of felt a bit throwaway almost. It was just like it introduced us to who Zuckerberg was as a character. We got the sense, this guy's a bit of a douche. He's the one we're going to be following. But then I didn't really think about that scene throughout the rest of the film until obviously we get a scene in the middle of the film where he sees her again, and then the closing of the film, the final shot, that pays off, so to speak. It comes back. The whole point is that Zuckerberg is chasing that moment the whole time. He wants a relationship with this woman. He's desperate for that social interactivity, for that personal connection, and he just doesn't have the skills to get it. I kind of missed that first time around. Not the point of it. I still got that point. I still got what it was about. But I think this time around, watching it again, knowing where the story was going and whatnot, I really took notice of that opening sequence and paid more attention to Rooney Mara's character, and she had a bigger impact on me this time around. Just the fact that this is a human being, it's a person. Yeah, she's probably not as intelligent as him, but she's a human being. She's got feelings. She's still a very intelligent woman, very independent woman, and this guy's just completely disrespecting her. And just like I say, you see the ramifications of that throughout the rest of the film. The fact that Zuckerberg, through the creation of Facebook, is really trying to chase her. That's really what it's all about. And Sorkin has a tendency to do this, and I don't know how much of what's in this film is truth, is reality, and how much is made up, obviously, to give us a narrative, because obviously at the end of the day it is still a film, a Hollywood movie, so there is going to be a license that is taken there. But Sorkin has a habit of doing that. He injects something personal into it to give his characters some humanity, because he doesn't shy away. Neither does Fincher. Obviously, Fincher is the one who's got hold of the reins. He's directing this. He does an awesome job, it must be said. There's a very particular kind of style that Sorkin writes with, where if you get the wrong director in, it could literally just be a bunch of talking heads. It could just be a load of people sat in rooms talking, which is kind of what this film is. But you've got to find a way to make that visually interesting. And obviously Fincher, being a master of the craft, he does. He finds many ways to make what is on the page visually interesting and make it cinematic, so it doesn't feel like it's just a stage play, which it could so easily do. And there's nothing wrong with that, that's in the writing. It doesn't change the fact that the writing is brilliant, but you do run that risk. But no, it does feel very cinematic. As I was saying, Fincher has a tight rein on the script and on the character dynamics, that he doesn't make Zuckerberg a complete villain. He finds moments of humanity in there for him. This is also a story of two best friends kind of falling apart, of success kind of dividing them. When Facebook becomes successful, other people start circling and getting involved. We have this character, Sean Parker, who's again, he's a real life character, created Napster. He comes in and he's not painted in the best light at all, to be honest. We see that he's very charismatic. You can understand why Zuckerberg would gravitate towards him, but at the end of the day, he's a bit of a leech. But our main character, as I say, is Zuckerberg, and it'd be very easy, given what we've got here with these two court cases, it'd be very easy to just make him a complete villain, make him a complete douchebag, someone who stole everything. But Fincher and Sorkin, they don't do that. They find ways to humanise him, to make us realise that actually this is just a guy who is desperately craving the very thing that he's incapable of doing. The performances right across the board are all really great. Even Justin Timberlake, I've seen Timberlake in a few things, and he can be a bit hit and miss. I do kind of like him as an actor, but I think that is because he does have a genuine sense of charisma, and that's what they play on here. They've got him for that, really. That's what his character needs. He comes into a meeting with Zuckerberg and Eduardo, the character played by Garfield. And he steamrolls in there. He turns up late, which does not impress Eduardo at all. But when he gets there, he's a schmoozer. That's what he does. That's his skill. He's very good at reading people, getting in there, and just kind of using his charisma to get people attached to him. Obviously, Eduardo kind of sees right through this, does not like him right off the bat, and then there's just animosity between the two throughout the rest of the film. I think it's Eduardo's character that I feel most for. I feel like he is doing a lot of work. He's trying to provide his expertise, so to speak, such as it is. He obviously doesn't have quite the technical expertise that Zuckerberg has, but he's still, he's put the money up. He's doing a lot of groundwork trying to get advertisers and whatnot, and it's just like, it makes you feel for the guy. And to top it off, he's in this rather, I'd say, humorous kind of relationship with this woman as a result of kind of becoming famous for his association with Facebook. He ends up in this relationship, and it's she turns into a bit of a weirdo, to say the least. She's one of these crazy kind of women who's like, just makes him scared, quite frankly. And while that is amusing, it is also very real. Stuff like this happens. People get into these relationships where they don't know what to do, and it just piles more and more sympathy onto this guy. It makes me feel for this guy in such a huge way. And then the moment when Sean Parker kind of he's instigated this whole thing where it kind of pushes Eduardo out of the business. There's a little moment there where Eduardo almost goes to hit him, and Parker kind of coils back. And I love that line of dialogue where Eduardo just says, "I love standing next to you because it makes me look so much tougher." It's something like that anyway, but it's just a typical Sorkin kind of gem of a line, which like I say, the dialogue throughout this entire film is absolutely spectacular. It's so on point. The film is a tragedy. It does play as quite the tragedy. You look at these guys, they're some of the most intelligent guys in the country, in the US. And yeah, just everything falls apart. They've got good relationships at the start of the film, and it just all disintegrates, deteriorates. And at the final moment where we see Zuckerberg kind of, looking at the Facebook, this thing he's created, Facebook. The woman that he was after at the beginning of the film is actually on it, is using his creation, so to speak, and he wants to be friends with her on it, and he keeps refreshing this page, and that's just how we go out, with him just tragically refreshing this page in the hopes that she's going to answer, and she won't, because why would she after the relationship they've had throughout the film? But it's just tragic. It really is. For me, the standout performance is Andrew Garfield. Like I say, I think as well that's the way he's written. I think he is written as the most sympathetic character in the film, and I do like Garfield as an actor anyway. He always draws me in, whatever performance whatever film he's in. I just find him to be the most likable character, the one who's trying to be a team player more than anyone else in the film. So yeah, he's definitely the one I warm to. He's definitely the performance I think that I gravitate towards. I think he has the biggest emotional range throughout the film, and that comes mostly as the fact that he's the one who's probably getting most screwed over. I think Armie Hammer is great as well, and not to be kind of underestimated, just what, or underappreciated, just what he's doing, because he is playing these twin roles. He's playing these twin brothers, the Winklevosses, or the Winklevi, as Zuckerberg rather amusingly refers to them as. He's got a very tough job there, and I think it's a credit to him and to Fincher as a director and the special effects team that you never feel like this is one guy playing two roles. There's never a point in the film where I'm looking for the special effects and I'm trying to see, how did they do that? I put the film on, I get halfway through and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Armie Hammer. I just realised that's actually one guy playing two brothers. So it's really good. There's no dodgy bits of CGI that really call attention to the fact that this is one guy kind of talking to himself. And like a lot of these films where you get, one person who plays twins, you might have a scene where they're kind of face to face and you can tell that they're not really looking at each other, and it's just the way it's framed. You can tell it's like, oh, they've just, they've filmed it on one side and then filmed the other and tried to, you never get that sense here. And there's some complex scenes, they're rowing a boat at one point. These two brothers, that's what they do. They're going for Olympics for boat rowing, and we get scenes in which they're rowing together, and it's just, again, you never feel like this is a special effect. You feel like this is two actors bouncing off of each other. So as much as I like Garfield, and as much as he is kind of my favourite performance in this, I think from a technical aspect, the things that he had to do, I think Armie Hammer deserves an awful lot of credit for what he brings to this film. The score by Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross is absolutely brilliant, and I have been listening to it just recently after watching the film. It's an incredible score. It did get nominated and won, in fact, the Oscar for Best Score. Deservedly so, I think. There's a few others that year. I think Inception may have been nominated as well. I don't know. If it wasn't, it should have been. But I can understand why the score for this film took the Academy Award. What I can't understand is why this film, or Inception in fact, didn't win Best Picture. This is the year in which The King's Speech won Best Picture. Now, I do think it deserved the nomination. If you're going for 10 films, I look back at that year, the films from 2010 that were nominated in 2011. They had 10 Best Picture nominees. I think King's Speech probably deserves a shout. But to win over Inception and over Social Network and over The Fighter, I'm just like, no. As per usual, as is often the case, I think the Oscars got it wrong. But there you go. Who cares about the Oscars, right? Suffice to say, got a nomination for Best Picture, and it truly did deserve it. This is a really incredible film. It's so tight. It's 2 hours and it flies by. I don't feel the running time at all. In fact, I could stay in this world a bit longer with these characters a bit longer. Like I say, the dialogue is just, you're constantly chasing it, trying to keep up with what's going on, which I like. I like that it credits you with the intelligence to do that. And there's nothing I would cut out. There's no bits in the film that feel extraneous to me, that feel like they don't need to be there. I feel like it's a really tight edit. It's really efficient. It's a story really efficiently told, beautifully played by all the actors, and Fincher's directing is fantastic. What more can I say? 5 out of 5 from me. But what about you? Have you seen Social Network? If so, what are your thoughts on the film? Do please leave them down below. Thank you for watching this video, and until next time, crack it.